As you are aware, he is not only a member of the Planning Commission, but also chairman of India-Japan Study Committee. He will address on our government policy in developing Indo-Japan economic cooperation. Mr. M.V. Subbarao, former chairman, Indian Bank, will propose the vote of thanks. Before I conclude, may I be allowed to express my personal views on Indo-Japanese economic relations. The rupee, which could be exchanged for 21 yens 3 years back, can now fetch only 10 yens, resulting in heavy trade imbalance for India. Japan is a fairly closed country, perhaps is a little controversial, for export of manufactured goods from India, nay, the world itself, with the result that India now exports only raw materials like iron ore, tea, marine products, etc. It is therefore requested that Japan may open up its market to Indian engineering goods, textiles, semi-manufactured goods, etc. The imbalance in trade is increasing year after year, resulting in Japan extending more yen credits even to service the debts. This one-way traffic in trade is not a very happy position for India. I do hope that Japan, which is very pragmatic in its outlook, tries to concentrate to manufacture high-tech products and leave the low-value products to developing countries like India, for example, castings, leather goods, textiles, etc. These are only some of my random thoughts I thought which we could discuss in the open session. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Naidu. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the time has arrived for which we have all been waiting. That is, to hear Honorable Excellency Mr. Sakuruchi.
ご来賓の皆様方、並びにご出席の会員の皆様方に、まず最初に、心からなるお見舞いを申し上げたいと思います。先般来のインドにおける灌漑の模様につきましては、日本においてその被害の大きいことを承ってまいりました。昨晩、ハイデラバードにつきまして、当地の実情を承って、皆様の生活の上に、さらには産業の面で、その他多大の被害をお受けになっておるということを承りまして、ここに代表団一行を代表して、謹んでお見舞いを申し上げます。
Professor Hussain and Dr. Raju, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I hear in Japan that India has been suffering from the unprecedented drought this year. As I came to Hyderabad last night, I was briefed in detail, to my astonishment and regret, the scope of the damage caused by the disaster in this region. Taking this opportunity, on behalf of the delegation, I would like to offer my deepest sympathy for those who have suffered and adversely affected.
本日は当地印日協会と 日本の日印協会が共同して経済セミナールを催しましたところ、多数の有力な方々にお集まりいただいて、誠にありがたく心から感謝申し上げる次第でございます。当地ハイデラバードはインドのほぼ中央に位置することと、ラジュ博士の熱心な活動によって、この協会内にインド印日協会連合会が設けられております。その上、本日はアルワール地区において日本文化会館の提訴式が行われます。私も出席させていただきますが、これによって当地の協会の活動が経済文化両面に広がっていくことを感じ、心から喜び、かつ今後のご活躍に期待申し上げる次第でございます。
It is my great pleasure to meet you, a number of distinguished guests, on the occasion of this economic seminar organized jointly by the Indo Japanese Friendship Organization of Hyderabad and the Indo Japanese Association of Japan. Hyderabad is located geographically in the center of India, and there is the National Council of Indo-Japanese Relations set up in the Indo-Japanese Friendship Organization of Hyderabad, having influential activities of Dr. Krishnam Raju in the organization. Furthermore, I am pleased to mention here that Japan Bhavan is going to be built at Alwal district, where I have the pleasure of attending the laying of the cornerstone this afternoon. I have come under the impression with confidence that the operation of the Indo-Japanese Friendship Organization will widely expand to the areas of both economy and culture. I wish to avail myself of this opportunity in wishing you all the success of your extensive functions to promote closer relationship between India and Japan.
日本の日印協会は過去85年の間、経済文化の両面で印日両国の理解と友好を深めるために数々の努力をいたしてまいりました。特に経済関係については、今から約100年前、日本がボンベイやアーメダバードの綿業から軽工業経営の知識を取得し、インドの綿花を大量に輸入して軽工業立国に成功した因縁から、やがて日印協会が官民協力のもとに設立され、友好促進の活動を開始したわけであります。日印協会は戦前十数年にわたってカルカッタ日本商品館を経営し、日印商工録を1933年から1965年まで毎年刊行してインド各地に配布していたのも、協会設立以来の経済交流を大切にする方針に基づいたものであります。
The Indo-Japanese Association of Japan has been exerting its influence in every way possible to foster better understanding and friendly relationship between our two nations in the field of economy as well as culture for the last 85 years since its very foundation in 1903. I can expressively point out the fact that our Indo-Japanese Association of Japan was established by the joint efforts of the government and people on the ground of our light industrialization, built up about a century ago by acquiring technical and management know-how of the cotton industry from entrepreneurs of Bombay or Ahmedabad, followed by the importation of a large quantity of cotton from your country. I am now present at this seminar with sentiment of appreciation to your senior people who assisted us to grow into a civilized nation in our history of modernization. the Indo Japanese Association of Japan had ever operated the Japanese Commercial Museum at Calcutta for over 10 years, from 1927 to 38, and also published the Indo Japanese Business Directory to distribute among your businessmen in various cities in India every year from 1933 till 1965. A series of such activities were carried out on our principle to evaluate the importance of economic and industrial interchanges between our two countries.
日本の経済的な繁栄は多くの国々の行為と協力によってもたらされました。我々はそれらの国々に対し、同じような友好の精神と積極的な協力を持って応えなければなりません。そして国際協力の第一歩は相互理解であろうと思います。この度のセミナーの企画は、日本の経済事情を皆様にご報告申し上げ、合弁や技術協力に関する日本の対応の仕方を明らかにして、皆様の事業活動のご参考にしていただくのが主眼であります。そのため、若干の資料も用意いたしましたので、この方もご利用賜りたいと存じます。
Japan is now said to be enjoying peace and prosperity, which was, however, brought to us by the warm goodwill and cooperation of various countries, and I realize that we are now in a position to reciprocate it in their favors. I would further mention that the bilateral cooperation of this kind needs nothing but mutual understanding at its initial stage. The seminar we are going to have with you this morning is planned in the hope that it will provide you with information on the current economic situation of Japan, so that you may be given relevant guidances and suggestions to your business activities, such as export and import, joint venture and technical collaboration projects with Japan. For this purpose, we have got some information resources ready for distribution to you, which I hope you will find useful.
私は日印協会会長に就任して本年10年になります。その間、インドの有力な政治家、財界人、文化人と接触して多くのことを学びました。そしてインドの事情が少しずつ分かってまいったように感じていますが、同時に国際理解の難しさも痛感いたしております。私たちの今回の試みが皆様の対日理解に役立ち、少しでも日印経済交流の増進に貢献することができれば、誠に幸いに存ずる次第でございます。
There have been 10 years elapsed since I assumed presidency of the Indo Japanese Association of Japan. During the decade, I have had many occasions to meet a number of most influential statesmen, leaders of financial and industrial fields, as well as cultural societies of your country. Through such opportunities, I have learned a lot of India, which means, in other words, that there are many things to remain still to be known. I really do hope that all the programs of the seminar will be enjoyed by you to contribute to the promotion of closer economic relations between our countries, India and Japan, as friends for many years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellency Mr. Sakuruchi, Excellency Ambassador Noda, Dr. Lakshmi Narasaya, Dr. Raju, Naidu, and my friend Rao. Excellencies and friends, I am extremely grateful to the Indo Japanese Friendship Organization of Hyderabad to have asked me to be here today and preside over this function. I deem it a great privilege, and I know I have been selected for this particular privilege because I am the son of the soil. I belong to Hyderabad, and therefore I feel extremely proud of the fact to be here and to light along with you, Excellency, the two lamps which represent the light of Asia, one of India and the other of Japan. I'm also thankful, and I know it, that Dr. Lakshmi Narasaya has also picked me up because I have been his disciple. I was a sub-collector here when he was the chief of the Zilla Parishad. And those were the great days when we're moving in the villages and trying to bring about a sort of a revolution, a silent revolution in the villages of this part of India. And therefore, that particular bondage of affection has prejudiced his mind in my favor and has asked me to be here. I am here because I can't say no to him or to my friend Raju. Well, friends, this particular meeting which has been organized in Hyderabad has been most timely. This is the time when Asia is on the move. This is the time when the fastest economic growth is taking place in our continent. This is the time when we have got a brighter star shining from the extreme east of Asia, that is Japan, whose luster has blinded what you call the modernization schemes of Europe and America. We are at a point of time when a great revolution is taking off now, both in China and in India. These two great countries represent 1/3 of the population of the world. One may not be able to see and perceive the changes which are taking place in these two countries. But those who could see beyond the dust storms of certain political upheavals would easily recognize as to what's happening in this part of the world. It is for nothing that Americans, Europeans, and others have started moving from the Atlantic towards the Pacific. It is for nothing that the countries which are known as developed are today knocking at the doors of China and India. In India, for instance, which I am very sure Excellencies will be happy to know, a great change is taking place. A new middle class has come into existence, which numbers about 100 million people. And this 100 million people, no doubt, forms only 1/7 of the total population of India, but is equivalent to the total population of England and of France. Or you could put it of France and Germany put together. India, which was totally dependent on the food supplies from outside, has today become self-sufficient. Self-sufficient in the sense that we do not have to wait for anybody to send his ships loaded with wheat to feed our people. In spite of the 3 terrible droughts which we have had in this country, and the 4th one through which we are passing through, we do not have to ask or stretch our hands for a support in terms of food. We know we are still not able to provide food to everybody in this country, but it is a fact that we have become self-sufficient to the extent that we don't have to import food. In 1950s, Our total grain production was not more than 51 million tons, and today I am proud to say that it is 151 million tons. Our rate of growth in agriculture was less than 0.8%, and today we are proud to inform you that it hovers between the 3 to 4%. Our industrial progress has also been there for anybody to watch and see. While in 1950s, our rate of growth was not more than 2%, it has now touched 7 to 8%. We have had certain setbacks, no doubt, but on the whole, the caravan is going in the right direction, and the progress is there for anybody to see. You will be happy to know, Excellency, that 95% of investment which goes in our productive activities, that amount of money is raised in the country itself. It does not mean that we do not thank you and the other countries who have been able to provide the 5% which we needed. The most of the industrial development program and agricultural revolution has been the outcome of the technocrats, the farmers, and the workers of this country. We are thankful to you and to the other developed countries for the help which you have given in order to bring new technologies in this country. But we are happy that today we are in a position to supply some of the scientific minds and the technological talents and skills from this country to the most developed country. Dr. Raja Reddy, whose name is known to everyone outside India and also in India, of course, is the son of the soil of this very state. You will be amazed to know that even in the best of the technological centers of development in America, you will definitely find a face from India, a talent from India, an assistant from India, and a man who is moving towards the newer generation of technologies. Excellency, I do not wish to take more time of yours in this particular respect, but I would only like you to know that this particular change which is enveloping Asia, in that India is playing a very important role. I do not have to tell you about the developments which are taking place in Southeast Asia. The NICs have become a challenge to some of the European countries already. And it is a fact that in the development of NICs, your country has played a marvelous and remarkable role. As a matter of fact, there is a saying that if there were not to be a Japan, there would not have been the fast progress that you have in the Southeast Asian countries. I know that most of their economy, most of their exports are either based on your technology or are moving on behalf of you or are on the basis of the equipment which comes from your country. We are also aware of the fact that you are the biggest giver of donations to those countries. You are the biggest investor, you are the biggest lender, you are the biggest supplier of technology to those countries. And when we meet some of our friends from North America in the international meetings, we have been raising one question before them, and we tell them that while Japan has been lending money to the Southeast Asian countries in a big way, how is it that we do not have the countries getting into their debt trap? While the Americans and others who have given money and lent money to Latin America and others, we find one country after the other getting into a debt trap. This is a compliment to your economic sense and economic judgment. This is a contribution to what you have really made in terms of economic development of those countries. Your lending must have been very hard, and we know that it is not very easy to negotiate things with Japanese. But when once the things are negotiated, they keep the wheels of production moving. They are not eager to get what you call the short-term gains and advantages. They are not eager to close the shops of the other countries to develop their own country. But surely they would like the other countries to develop in such a way that they become the locomotive power for the development of Japan. The economic development, economic association, and economic cooperation is not a game of charity. It is not a Christmas evening gifts to be given to others. We understand that there are sacrifices involved in your giving it to us and in our taking. We understand that it is to your advantage and it should also be to our advantage to get help from you. Excellency, your country has done a marvelous piece of work in the last few years. I was just checking the figures of investments which have taken place, and I was amazed to read that in the financial year of 1986, as much as $22,320 million of direct investments have been made by Japan. I repeat the figure again. $22,320 million of direct investment has been made by Japan in the world market. And of this, you will be amazed to know, there has been a tremendous increase of investment which has gone from Japan to America. There has been a 91% increase of the Japanese investment in America when compared with the figures of 85. And 85 figures themselves were 24% above the base of 1984. You have increased your investment in Latin America by 81%. You have increased your investments in Europe by 62%, and in Asia by another 50%. It is only in West Asia that there has been a decline of 2% from your side. One more thing which has got to be understood in order to appreciate the type of changes which are taking place in Japan is that the 80% of the investments which have gone there have gone in the non-manufacturing items. They have gone in services. They have gone in acquiring the estates. They have gone in banking. They have gone in the financial institutions. You will be amazed to know that today Japan has been able to buy up big shares in the banks of America. Japan has been able to create assets in America. I am saying all these things only to make one point very clear, that Japan is able to conquer economically, if that word can be used, not what you call the desperate developing or underdeveloped countries, but it has taken up the position vis-a-vis the biggest, the most developed country in the world. Today, it's known to all of you that while America has got a deficit economy, Japan has got a surplus economy. You will be amazed to know that the giant of the world called America is today trying to become protectionist. Those who were talking of free market, those who were talking of fair market, they are talking today of protection. And protection against whom? Not any other major big country, but a small island where the sun will never set from where the sun rises. That is Japan. Yet one more very interesting thing which comes out is that technology has become the biggest baggage which is being sold from Japan to the other countries. And it is here, I think, we must take fullest of advantage of what Japan has got to offer. Japan, as Naidu was saying 3 decades ago, was in ashes. Japan was in agony. Japan was in suffering. Japan was in the last man in the last row of the developing countries at that time. But today, when you look at Japan, as to what it has done in these last 3 decades, one really marvels and wants to understand as to what has happened to it. We must learn certain lessons from Japan. The first lesson, I think, which we have got to learn in India is the role which a state has got to play. I do not have to tell you, you will agree with me, that there is no country in the world where the withering away of the state takes place. There is no country in the world where the state withdraws from an economic activity. But what is really important is the type of intervention that country makes, the type of policies that the country evolves, the type of direction which the policy gives to its economic agents of growth. It is here that the Japanese government surrendered, first of all, the ideas of becoming a military power. It is here the Japanese government decided to play a low profile and do not assume the leadership of the world in any way. And it concentrated on one thing. It concentrated on building up a partnership between the industry, business, and the state. You have all heard the name of MITI. That particular industry is not the industry which is giving licenses. That ministry is not a ministry which is regulating everything. But certainly that is a ministry which is bringing the businessmen and industrialists together with the government to decide as to what is good for Japan and then use the private and the public sectors to work together. I think India has got to learn that particular lesson. We have passed a stage where a state could be a regulatory state. We have passed a stage where the state could only remain as a police state. All the peace and economic development flows, political development flows from the economic development of a country. And therefore, I think that is the lesson number one which we have got to learn from Japan, that there should be a partnership between, the concept of partnership must be accepted by us between the state and the agents of development. The second lesson which we have got to learn from Japan is that while it was the importer of technologies in 1950s, it has become an exporter of technology today. While it was an imitator of technologies and development in 1950s, today it has become a creative innovator of new ideas. While it was dependent on the markets abroad, today it is their market which is being looked for greedily by America and others. How did it happen? It happened not by a mad importation of technology. It has happened not by putting shutters against the technology, but by using technology and importing technology in a very wise manner, in a very selective manner. And having brought in the technology, all efforts were made in order to absorb that technology, in order to make that technology their own. They begged, they borrowed, and they have also stolen technology. But having brought that technology, they did not remain dependent on repetitive import of technology. I think India has got to learn this lesson, that not that it should not import technology, but it should import technology intelligently. Not that it should not bring technology inside, but having brought that technology inside, it must assimilate in the system. The third thing which we have got to learn, and learn very fast, I think, is their whole concept of the labor and the managerial relationship. We from the British have inherited the confrontationalist ideas of everything. There must be confrontation between the state and the opposition. There must be a confrontation between the society and the police. There has got to be a confrontation between the writers and what you call the students and the writers. That there has got to be a confrontation between the labor and the management. Japan is the one country which has resisted this particular idea, and they developed the idea of a collective responsibility. They brought in a concept of a family in the industry. There was no confrontationist attitudes between the labor and the management. Management did not consider labor only as an agent of development, but it had considered itself to be a partner in the creation of assets. They don't have what you call the strikes, minimum strikes they have. They have discipline not because the police forces it, but because the labor feels that they are part and parcel of that particular growth. Whenever the prices go up, whenever they find a certain product is not acceptable to market, they don't close down the industry, they don't retrench the labor, they don't reduce the wages, they don't cut the, what you call, the benefits which are given to them. On the contrary, they think in terms of reviving industry in such a manner that the labor gets much more than what it was getting earlier. I'll give you only two examples to prove this point. When the Canon camera, which was booming all over the world, ran into difficulties and found that the competition from Minolta from inside and a craze from outside decreasing in favor of what you call cameras came, they were face to face with a situation where market was not prepared to accept Canon cameras. What was the reaction of a Japanese industrialist? not to close down the cannon, not to go to the government and ask for more assistance, not to go to the finance minister to ask for tax holiday, not to say that, you see, you give export facilities to me that I may go. They immediately started shifting from making cameras to Xerox machine. They started moving from making cameras to what you call the other office equipment. They started moving from using lenses, not for camera, but for defense purposes, which was needed by what you call America. And thereby, a company which was supposed to be going down, a company which according to the normal European rules and American rules should have been closed down, a company which according to our lights, as we